Blind Lamy, without further ado, you are on with Kelly and I. How's it going?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey.
Not to bogart the airwaves too much, but I actually wanted to get your guys' sort of opinion on something on the air, because I don't know whether I handled this conversation I had very well. So in the ACA fan Discord, who everyone should go and visit, by the way, I got into a very long conversation with a polytheist. And it came down to the defining rational, reasonable evidence, these terms that we use. And the context was that I believe that any superstitional thought or superstitional belief is inherently irrational. It's bad thinking. And they basically argued me down that even if a thought is wrong, as long as you believe it, you can rationalize it yourself, then it's rational. And as long as you find it internally convincing, it's reasonable. And you can't discount personal experience as a form of evidence. But I don't know, it just I felt that was unsatisfying. You got any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly. You seem like you have.
I was going to say I agree with that. I totally agree with that. You can rationalize all kinds of very bad ideas. We've seen it happen throughout history. I'm not going to invoke Godwin's law, but I could. And but we've seen throughout history that people have rationalized a lot of really, really bad ideas. So to say an idea is rational does not mean that it's a good idea, that it's an idea we should use. It just means that somebody somewhere has taken the time out to convince themselves and to convince others that there is a train of thought that makes it all right to do it. It doesn't mean that it's good. And again, the same thing is true of reasonable. I can make all kinds of reasoning to justify bad actions. I wouldn't do it, but people have throughout history. So I don't think rational or reasonable are good adjectives to describe a good idea, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I would say so too. So I think I'm with Blind Limey to find that justification unsatisfying. I feel like, and this just comes from, I think, years of challenging my own beliefs or my own preconceived notions. But I would need evidence to make something not supernatural or anything like that in order for me to believe it and consider it rational. However, on Kelly's point, there's this idea of like a rational actor, for example. A rational actor is somebody who does something in concert or in accordance with a goal that they're trying to achieve. So, for example, suicide bombers. Suicide bombers, are they rational actors? I think most people judging a suicide bomber from the standard of why they are doing it versus them actually carrying it out might say, well, that's irrational, right? Especially a skeptic like myself, or maybe some of you guys might look at somebody who is a suicide bomber because of their religion or because of some supernatural, superstitious thing. Yeah, of course, irrational, right? But if they are carrying that out and they have rationalized this chain of events that says doing X will lead to Y or Z, and therefore I must do X, then that actually does make them a rational actor. And I studied that a little bit, for my graduate degree, and I was really that was something that I kind of was hung up on for a long time. So those are my initial thoughts on that. I don't know, Blind Limey, how did we do? What do you think about all that?
So yeah, I mean, I rehabilitated the language I was using, and I will likely not, move forward with that. I think the sticking point and the context again was that I said, well, do you feel that, I said to this polytheist, do you feel that any evidence you could give me that is convincing to you would be convincing to me? And he says, well, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm not trying to convert you. And essentially said that all of his evidence was personal experience. And I said, well, you do realize, or I'm sure you understand, that that's not very compelling to me because I can't experience what you've experienced. He goes, yeah, I understand. And again, that kind of just felt like just an end of a conversation. But I have a visceral dislike of supernatural thinking. I feel that it's the thin end of a wedge that could move towards believing very, very harmful things, you know, not just in religion, but generally like anti-vax and stuff like that. So I wonder if is there a better argument I could have used or a better way I could have taken that conversation.
See, I think that person you were talking to is a good example of how somebody can rationalize a bad view. I'm pretty sure I know who you were talking to as well.
You know, I'm not mentioning any names, and I'm trying to keep it.
No, I'm not going to mention any names either. I'm pretty sure I know who you were talking to, just because I'm also a moderator on the Discord server, and they're pretty much a regular over there, and they have expressed their polytheistic ideas quite often. And I don't see any difference in the way they justify what they believe in as I see from any other theist or religious person. They seem to be able to justify it in their own mind that theirs is better, that this is the right way to do things. And again, like I said, that's a good example how you can rationalize a bad idea, because this person has done that. They've rationalized that their religious view is actually logical to them, when I don't see it being logical.
Yeah, I think we have a tendency to maybe conflate some terms, rationality and what's logical. So and Blind Limey hit it on the head. Like, yeah, I've kind of altered my vocabulary on that. Yeah, I mean, what we typically understand as rational, actually, you know, might mean something really different to somebody else and is still rational. So yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, anything else for us, Blind Lamy, before we let you go?
No, just doing a good job. You really wrangled with the previous caller. We'll talk more about that in the after show. I shan't take any more of your gentleman's time, but thank you for having me on. Bit nostalgic being a caller.
Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.